serve as the Executive Director here at Theta Chi headquarters. I want to welcome you all to our beautiful new building. On behalf of our fraternity and staff, I would like to welcome all of our undergraduate brothers who've made the trip today, our alumnus members, and particularly our interfraternal friends who've made the trip to be with us here. It's truly a historic day that will no doubt go down in Theta Chi history. As is tradition for almost every ceremony Theta Chi fraternity performs, we like to begin with a prayer. And at this time, I'd like to invite our national chaplain, Brother Doug Miller, to the podium to please deliver the invocation. Brother Miller. Dear Lord.
Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us to this new home. Whereas the journey at times seemed long, you were always there to guide our steps and carefully place us upon firm footing. As we celebrate with our brothers and friends, we take time to ask you to bless all those who will use this building. Guide the work of their hands and their minds. Grant that all who plan and conduct business in this office may, through your guidance and support, come to the right decisions and find joy in contributing to the progress of the earthly city. We further beseech you to protect our brotherhood. With your help, we are excited to look to a future where the best of our yesterdays are but the worst of our tomorrows. We ask this through Christ our Lord.
Amen. Thank you, Doug. Over the years, Theta Chi fraternity has called many different facilities and cities its home. And after each of these moves, they understandably coincided with unprecedented growth and new opportunities for the fraternity. Like other fraternities, Theta Chi started for many years as a purely volunteer organization with no central administrative offices or staff members. When the task of supporting our chapters became too much for the volunteers alone to handle, Theta Chi's first executive office opened in New York City in 1923. In 1928, the executive office was moved to Huntington, West Virginia, and just 4 years later, we again moved to the Broad Street Bank Building in Trenton, New Jersey, which Theta Chi historians are famous for noting was neither on Broad Street nor did it contain a bank. In 1970, the executive offices remained in Trenton, New Jersey, but relocated to an older home located at 838 Riverside Drive, and operated at the location for almost 20 years. In 1989, the Grand Chapter of Theta Chi Fraternity, our National Board of Directors, voted to move the executive office to leased office space in Indianapolis with the intention of finding a more permanent facility. Concurrent with this move, the executive office was renamed the International Headquarters. It is worth noting that almost 20 years ago today, on May 7th, 1994, our immediate past headquarters was dedicated at 3330 Founders Road. The impetus for our most recent move to this outstanding facility was not entirely dissimilar to the circumstances that led to Theta Chi to establish its first executive office in the 1920s. Over the course of the last several years, the fraternity has experienced unprecedented levels of growth. Last academic year, Theta Chi initiated more undergraduates than at any one period of time in the history of our organization. And as I reported to our national officers earlier today, all signs point to this year being yet another record year for Theta Chi. This record growth has brought forth greater demands for staffing, for training facilities, and for ample space to showcase our storied history. Those of you who have visited 3330 Founders Road in recent years would have taken note of some of the creative rearranging that was necessary to accommodate our growing staff. A visitor to our last facility would no doubt have encountered instances of office sharing or limited work and meeting activities. We even had a number of areas in which were never intended for offices that were in fact closets that we had to convert to office space in order to accommodate our growing staff. All these factors combined together illuminated the need for us to make this move over to Carmel Drive. While our previous building at 3330 Founders Road served the fraternity very well for 20 years, we have truly shattered our prior limitations with this state-of-the-art new facility. About 2 years ago, after returning from Theta Chi's National Convention in Palm Springs, California, I welcomed our newly elected national president to our previous headquarters at 3330 Founders Road. During his visit, we spent a great deal of time discussing the current condition of the fraternity and what we should hope to accomplish throughout the next 2 years. When our new national president asked me about one of our most pressing needs, right near the top of my list was a new international headquarters facility. He committed to me that we would garner the support at the board level and throughout the greater fraternity to ensure that the staff would occupy a new building by the end of his first term. Fast forward 2 years later, and our national president has indeed kept his word. At this time, I'd like to ask you to please join me in welcoming Theta Chi Fraternity's national president, Dick Elder, who will make some remarks on behalf of the Grand Chapter and the entire fraternity. Brother Elder.
One of the comments that I have made consistently for the last 2 years as I have served as Theta Chi's national president, to everyone I come in contact with, and that comment is, it's a great time to be at Theta Chi. And no truer statement could be placed on anything I could say today of greater value than that. So I would like to welcome all of my brothers who are here today, their spouses and girlfriends, our guests, and all of the friends and staff of Theta Chi as well who've come here for this great celebration and a monumentous day in our history. As Mike said, we have had 7 headquarter buildings over the past 158 years. We celebrated our 158th birthday earlier this month on April 10th. And so with each of those growth, Mike mentioned we started in 1923 in New York City, our first executive office. The total number of chapters in 1923 of Theta Chi Fraternity was 39. We moved again and the total number of chapters was 46. We moved again and the total number of chapters was 50. Then when we moved to New Jersey, by the time we had left New Jersey, we had well over 100 chapters who had charters at colleges and universities throughout North America. Today, we have nearly 140 active chapters across the United States. And when you talk about buildings, you really talk about bricks and mortar and the foundation of an organization. Behind me, and in a few minutes as you begin to tour our new facility, you will see 3 bricks placed in a very appropriate place as you enter the building. Those 3 bricks are bricks that were salvaged from Norwich University in the Old South Barracks, which was our founding in 1856. And those bricks have been placed in this building today. And oftentimes you would hear the remark from people when it comes to buildings, if only the walls could talk. And I think back what the walls would have said to our fraternity in 1923, and what they would have said in 1928, and what they would have said in 1932, and what they would have said in 1990, in each of those moves that we made. I'm anxious to hear what the walls will say in the future. For behind me, you will see something that is a reflection of our heritage and our past, but also a vision for our future. I would be amiss if I didn't identify a few people who played a significant role in this happening for all of us. Mike's right, I was in Indianapolis. It was one of the first times I had an opportunity to meet with him. I toured the existing headquarters building that we had at Founders Road, and he was very, he wasn't forceful, but he was blunt about the current facility. And so I called a meeting not too long after that, in my home in Denver, Colorado, and I asked Mike Kistler, who was the president of our foundation board, or our Norwich Housing Corporation board, Dave May, who was the president of our foundation board, and Mike and myself to come to a meeting in Denver and talk about specifically a number of the things in our strategic plan. I turned and pointed to Brother Kistler, and I said, I need your help, and I need your guidance and your professionalism and your leadership to help us find a new headquarters building. Without hesitation, he said, I'll do whatever I can for the fraternity. And that's what I call standing up and leading, and that's what he did. So with Mike's hard work and the work of the entire staff and Jim Powell and Cindy BIllman, who's been working hour upon hour upon hour over the last several months, I think when you walk inside, you'll see the efforts of all of these people. I think the other thing I would share with you that we now in 2015 will celebrate our 25th year as a corporation operating in the Indianapolis, Indiana area. And it has been a tremendous growth period for the fraternity. I think also I would share with you and all of our interfraternal friends who may be with us today is that Theta Chi is on the move, literally and figuratively. And that move is up. So how do things like this happen? They happen because of the vision of people, and they happen because of hard work. And they happen because of goals and leadership and the stick-to-itiveness to make a dream become real. So I welcome all of you here to our celebration today. And I hope that you feel as I do as you enter the new halls of Theta Chi. The significant heritage, history, and vision of America's finest fraternity, Theta Chi. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Elder. Well, when we were through the process of determining exactly where we would move our new headquarters location to, myself, my wife Tori, we had just relocated to the beautiful suburb of Carmel, Indiana. And for those of you who happen to be in from out of town, hopefully you recognize why our beautiful city here is consistently ranked as one of the best places to live throughout the United States. We're very pleased to have with us today the mayor of this great city, Mayor Jim Brainard, who I'd like to invite to the podium to make a few remarks. Mayor Brainard.
Welcome, for those of you from out of town, welcome to Indiana, welcome to Carmel. And it's right, a year and a half ago, CNN Money Magazine announced on Matt Lauer's morning show that Carmel, Indiana was the best place to live in America, and we're very proud of that here. Just 2 weeks ago, Real Estate Blog looked at the 120 largest suburbs, we like to say edge cities, in the United States, and determined that Carmel, Indiana was the safest of the 120 largest suburbs, looking at crime statistics. We strive hard. I joke when I'm out on the road talking with people that may want to relocate here, companies, that we don't have mountains or oceans. Show a picture of San Diego Harbor and the city and the mountains behind it, and a picture of the Rocky Mountains, other places. And I had this cornfield. So this is our palace, so we have to work harder. That usually gets a lot. Work harder. You have to see it. You have to visualize it. But we have to work harder on the built environment. We try to do that here. And we're so proud to welcome your fraternity's headquarters to Carmel. I'm a member of, I'm sure had I been in the university, had one of your chapters, it may have turned out differently, but I'm a member of Phi Kappa Psi fraternity. But because of that relationship over many years at this point, I understand the importance of the Greek system. I understand the leadership values that are taught through the fraternity system. I understand the alumni networks. I'm a proud alumnus of my fraternity, and see that the good it has done for the world and the good it's done for the members. Over the last few days, I've had the opportunity to acquaint myself much more with your fraternity, and I see that it does the same good, not only for its members, but that the communities in which they live, in which they serve. And so it gives me great pride to welcome you to Carmel. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor Brainard. At this point, there's a number of individuals and organizations that we'd like to recognize here before we cut the ribbon. First and foremost, I'd like to commend the staff here at the International Headquarters. The many hours spent packing, moving, and then unpacking again, over 150 years worth of history in just about 1 month's time. Our original plan called for the headquarters to be ready here in Carmel in January, and some various unexpected events actually resulted in us not actually moving in here to 865 West Carmel Drive until April the 1st. So to have this facility ready to go in less than 30 days is nothing short of a remarkable and monumental task, and it's reaffirmed my belief, Theta Chi Fraternity, we have the greatest staff in the fraternal world. So please, I'd like you all to join me in congratulating and thanking the staff. I don't see her here right now, but many of you all had the opportunity to meet Jennifer Junge. She serves as my executive assistant, and she actually began work with the fraternity in January. And one of the first items I told her on her first day is, we've got this building dedication in April, and you're in charge of organizing all the logistics for this. And so those of you who have been here throughout the weekend already, and based upon what you're going to see inside, I think you're going to agree that she's done an outstanding job. So thank you very much, Jennifer, for all your hard work on that. Next, I'd like to recognize the members of our governing board, consisting of our grand chapter under our leadership of National President Dick Elder, our foundation chapter under the leadership of Carlton Bennett, and our Norwich Housing Corporation under the leadership of Mike Kistler. For those of you who aren't members of Theta Chi Fraternity, our governing boards serve as our corporate board of directors. Those are the men who are typically around behind me and throughout the audience who are wearing the red ribbons. This was indeed a team effort, and we are indeed grateful here at the staff for this vision, the courage, and the leadership of our national officers in this endeavor. In approving the purchase of this new building, our board members have made a bold decision that will ensure the long-term success and stability of Theta Chi Fraternity. We also have a number of interfraternal friends with us as well. I just saw Mike Ilon sneak in. He's the Executive Director of Sigma Pi, so graciously hosted my wife and I at their building headquarters dedication about a month ago, and I know he's probably thrilled to death that he's not in charge of this thing today and he just gets to attend. There are a number of individuals in particular that we would like to recognize with particular distinction within Theta Chi Fraternity, known as the Citation of Honor. As I mentioned earlier, I'm eternally grateful for the good work of all the staff members here at the International Headquarters for their efforts in getting us into the new building. There were 2 staff members, however, who were absolutely instrumental in preparing the new building for move-in and then handling all the details that came with getting the actual photos on the wall and the furniture set up and all the other items that come along with a brand new office building. These outstanding employees put in many additional long hours, endured numerous unexpected twists and turns, and they also talked their executive director out of a number of crazy ideas to ensure that the building was exactly perfect for this weekend. At this time, I'd like to invite our office manager, Ms. Cindy BIllman, and our associate executive director, Jim Powell, forward for a presentation.
Cindy and Jim, the yeoman work you've done has been seen by a few of us this weekend already, and very, very shortly the rest of you as well. Please take a moment if you have a chance to personally thank them, because much of what you see behind me has been the work of themselves and their staff and Mike's entire staff to make it happen. But to go back to the beginning, I mentioned that there was one other individual whose love and passion for Theta Chi has existed for many, many, many years. And I'm a believer in what I call a call to action. And a call to action is when someone is given an assignment, they stand up and they take it on and they see it to its completion. They don't dilly-dally around, they don't procrastinate, they don't think about it, they simply do it. I would like to recognize Brother Mike Kistler for his unselfish giving of his time, his professionalism, his expertise, and his knowledge in making all of this happen for Theta Chi. Mike, would you please come forward and see us?
Well, before we cut the ribbon, there's two more groups of people I want to recognize, one individual, one group. First and foremost, I've got the privilege of having my beautiful wife, Tori Mayer, with us today. And over the course of the last several months, she has been just tremendous in understanding the late nights that have gone into getting the headquarters ready to go, and understanding and appreciating my passion and for Theta Chi and supporting me and the rest of the staff and everything we've done. So, Tori, I thank you so much for all your support throughout this process, and look forward to being home at 5 o'clock if you have time. Thank you. And last but not least, before we cut the ribbon, I'd just like to thank all the undergraduate members, alumnus members, all of our guests and visitors for being here to witness this historic day as we enter the halls of Theta Chi Fraternity here at 865 West Carmel Drive. We have no idea what the future is going to hold, other than we know it's going to be bright, because we have outstanding individuals at the board level, at the staff level, and within our undergraduate chapters. So with that, I'd like to invite all the past national presidents, Mike Kistler, Jim Powell, Mayor Brainard, as well as our foundation chapter president, Carlton Bennett, to join me as we prepare to cut the ribbon to our new headquarters.
It's a great time to be a Theta Chi.
Thank you all so much for coming, and as the Executive Director, it is my pleasure and my privilege to invite you all to be the first guest in the newly dedicated Theta Chi Fraternity International Headquarters. Thank you, brothers.